afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Safe Space with Pastor Wale. I am so glad you could join us. I want to especially appreciate our subscribers. By the last episode, we had hit 300, and we just want to appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed already, please do that. Hit the subscribe button so that you get notified of when the program airs, and we want to get the messages out, the social issues we deal with on this program. We want to get that out to as many people as possible. So if you haven't subscribed to Safe Space with Pastor Wale, please do so. And for those who have already subscribed, we are really grateful. Now, I want to welcome our guest, Dr. Umobong, an anatomic pathologist who was with us on our last episode. We are talking on a touch of pink, and we are continuing with that this week. You remember last week she spoke about breast cancer, and today she's still going to talk to us about two other cancers that are common with women. I want to welcome her. Dr. Umobong, welcome back.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I'm happy to be here again. I hope you learned something the last time, and we've started screening or examining our breast, and I do hope that most of us have gone for screening. Even though today is the last day of the month of cancer, the pink month, it is never too late. Please let cost not be an impediment. It is cheaper to screen than to treat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I was telling somebody that if you left Dr. Umobong, it's almost like she should go around with a megaphone and just put this information into the heads of as many people as she can. She is so passionate about this, and we want to appreciate you. So moving on, last time we talked about breast cancer, but there were other cancers you'd mentioned that are common to women and all over, especially even in our clime. And I remember you mentioned ovarian cancer, you mentioned cervical cancer, and I would like for you to talk to us some more about that. What are the predisposing factors for those cancers? Are they similar, or can you separate them? Let's talk about the cervical cancer. What are the predisposing factors? I mean, how does it present? How long does it take to manifest? You know, just before you tell us what we can do to prevent.
Thank you very much. Let us start with the female anatomy, the reproductive system of the female. I'm talking about the woman now.
Yes.
The female reproductive system consists of the uterus, the fallopian tubes, and the ovaries. Every woman has this. Now the uterus has the endometrium and the cervix. That cervix, for the women that have given birth before, you know, when you are in labor, you hear the midwife say, oh, she's 2 cm dilated, she's 3 cm dilated. That is the cervix. It's the cervix that has to open up for the baby to pass through. Okay. The endometrium houses the baby. And in time of labor, the cervix starts dilating, opening up.
Sorry, so the endometrium is the womb?
Endometrium is the womb,
okay.
That houses the fetus.
Okay.
And at labor, the cervix starts opening up. Now the ovary is where the ovum is being produced. The eggs of the woman is being produced. And then the fallopian tube is where fertilization actually takes place. Okay. During ovulation, one egg is released, goes to the fallopian tube. If there's sexual activity that period, the sperm from the man swims through the cervix to the endometrium and into the fallopian tube, and fertilization takes place there. And then the fertilized ovum now moves into the womb, which is the endometrium. Okay. And then the baby develops there. When it's time for delivery, during labor, the cervix dilates, and then the baby comes out through the cervix.
Okay.
Now, each of these parts can undergo malignant changes. We have cancer of the endometrium, cancer of the ovaries, and cancer of the cervix.
Wow.
But you know, all these organs are hidden. It's not like the breast that is external, that you can actually palpate and see what is going on there. These other ones, you cannot see what is going on there. But thank God for technology. There are modalities, methods that have been developed, you know, for easy detection, early detection.
Okay.
Now, for cancer of the cervix, which is very common in Nigeria, it's said to be the second commonest in Nigeria right now, if I'm not mistaken, after breast. It is not just in the rural areas alone, also in the urban areas. It is caused 99% by a virus, human papillomavirus, HPV. That is what it's called. Now, this HPV, there are so many subtypes. We have over 100 subtypes, but it's not all of them that causes cancer. The subtype that can predispose to cancer is 18, 16, 30, 33, and all. The rest, maybe just warts, genital wart, that is rashes around the anal region and the genital tract.
Okay.
So HPV is the commonest cause of cancer, cervical cancer. And how do you get HPV? Through sexual activity.
Okay.
The early you are exposed to, a woman that is exposed to any sexual activity has started accumulating one subtype of HPV or the other. So multiple sexual partners predisposes to cervical cancer. And then the HPV, not every woman, you know, we are all exposed to HPV, but not every woman develops cancer of the cervix. There are other things that will now influence that, which we'll talk about.
Okay.
So multiple sexual partners predisposes to developing cancer of the cervix. You may be faithful, but if you have a partner that is promiscuous, you are also disposed to it, because he runs or she goes to other men, he goes to other women, picks their own HPV, and then you are sitting down at home, a happy recipient. So you may be faithful. If your partner is not faithful, you still have the risk, runs the risk of developing cervical cancer, getting the HPV, depending on other influences that you are being exposed to. So multiple sexual partners. It is often said that cancer of the cervix is for the sex workers, while cancer of the breast is for the nuns. The nuns don't breastfeed. Sex workers are exposed to multiple types of HPV. Other causes are predisposing factors, early onset of sexual activity. Because a child, once exposed, starts accumulating HPVs. And you know, in the world right now, not just Nigeria, the children are getting exposed very early to sexual activities. And that's why even cervical cancers, we are beginning to see them now at much younger ages. So that's another predisposing factor. The last time we talked about tobacco smoking. It's still very high in the list of predisposing factors, because like I said before, the tobacco, some of the tobacco agents or whatever have been found in the cervical mucus. So it predisposes to developing cervical cancer. Other infections, like the HIV. HIV patients have actually been known to have a higher risk of developing cervical cancer. Other infections like chlamydia predisposes to that. Then we also have some other estrogen preparations that were used to prevent premature labor. Those ones are no longer in place. And then unhealthy lifestyle. Unhealthy lifestyle. Obesity, immobility, the kind of food that we eat, and any other thing that will lower the immune system predisposes to cancer of the cervix. Now, how does it present? Cancer of the cervix is known in the medical world as a merciful cancer because it takes a long time to manifest. It can take as long as 10 years. So it gives enough time. It's like, I'm coming, won't you do something about it?
Wow.
And you are just sitting down there, not doing anything about it. It gives a long time. So that is where, prevention, Pastor, that we'll talk about comes in. So at that time, it can be detected early and then intervention given. So it takes a long time to start. In the cervix too, we have the ectocervix, that's the outer cervix, and then the inner cervix.
Okay.
Cancer of the cervix actually starts, most of it starts from the outer cervix. So it starts from and then the outer cervix is divided into 3 portions, the proximal, the middle, and the distal part. So it starts from the lower part, lower pontet. The cells start changing. Instead of maturing towards the outer part, the immature ones continue until they get to the outer part. Between the inner and the outer part of the cervix, there's a membrane, basement membrane, that separates the two.
Okay.
So it's when the outer part, the ectocervix, has been infiltrated by these cells that it now breaks the membrane and infiltrates into the endocervix.
Okay.
So it takes a long time before this happens. So if it's detected while it's still within the ectocervix, a lot of intervention can be done at that point. So that is the, if I may say, the good part or the good concerning the cervical cancer, in that it gives a long time, takes a long time before it manifests to full-blown cancer. So when it starts, you may hear that you have CIN1 or CIN2. That is not cancer. It's just the precursors to cancer. Okay. It is what might eventually lead to cancer. Because we have this.
That is when you do the pap smear, that's when
you may hear that. You hear that. They will say, oh, something is wrong. It's not okay. You need to do this.
Okay.
Do this. So how does it present? Presentation actually comes at the late stage. At this stages of precursors, there might not be any presentation.
So
but the
no
commonest,
pain, no.
They might not be. When you start having pains, more likely it is late.
Wow.
So the commonest symptom is irregular vaginal bleeding. If you are bleeding in between menses, something is wrong. It might not be cancer of the cervix. There are other causes, but it's one of the causes. Irregular vaginal bleeding, and then bleeding in postmenopausal women. A woman that has stopped menstruating 3 years, 5 years, and suddenly she starts bleeding again. There's definitely something wrong with it. I'm saying this again because I've had incidences that some postmenopausal women will come to me and say, oh, praise the Lord, I've started seeing my menses again. Please, it is not your menses. Go and have it checked out. Once you've reached your menopause, you've reached your menopause. You start bleeding, there's a problem with that. You may also have postcoital bleeding. When you meet with your partner and you bleed, there's definitely something wrong with it. Or postcoital pains, meeting sexual activity leading to pains. There's something wrong with it. It can just be onset of cervical cancer or whatever. But the whole idea is, once you see these symptoms, please see your doctor. Copious vaginal bleeding, brownish, with odor, abnormal. Normally, the women secrete mucus, normally. But when it's abnormal, the quantity and then the color, the odor, there's something wrong somewhere. So these are just the common signs of cervical cancers that you may need to see your doctor when you have any of these signs.
Okay.
So how do we prevent that?
Yeah, well, in fact, what you're just saying just reminds me of last week that you kept saying, the last episode you kept saying that we should know our bodies.
Exactly.
We should know our bodies. So if there's anything off, we should
be able to detect it.
We should ask questions. Okay, so because of time as well, I want you to lump the prevention for both cancers together, because you've not spoken to us about the ovarian.
Ovarian cancers are more difficult. Most ovarian cancers, by the time it's diagnosed, it's too late. It's only regular screening, blood screening, The hormonal says CA125. Once it's high, that gives an indication that there's something wrong there. By the time there's a swelling on the side of the ovary where the ovary is supposed to be, I mean physical swelling, it means it is already late. So that's where screening also comes in, because if you regularly check your hormonal status, it might be detected early. So the whole thing is still about prevention. And the prevention is screening. Screen and screen and screen. For the cervical cancers, pap smears, I'm sure we've heard of a pap smear. It's just a simple procedure. It's an office procedure. You don't need to, you may need to book appointment to be sure that the person that is going to take the smear is available. But it's not something that is going to last the entire day. It's a 5-minute procedure. It's just done in the office there. You don't need anesthesia. You don't need to take painkillers for it. All you want to assess is the cervix, and then a smear, I mean a spatula is inserted, or a brush, and then the scrapings of the cervix is done, put into a liquid and assess. That way we'll know whether you are free or you have some changes that should be looked further. If they say there are some changes there, you may be advised to do HPV tests. It's available in Nigeria now, though it's a bit more expensive. You may have to do HPV or refer to the gynecologist for further tests, maybe a biopsy or whatever the gynecologist would now recommend. But this HPV, it should be done every 3 years. It's advised that once you have a negative HPV, I mean negative pap smear, after 3 years, you repeat. After 3 years, you repeat. Some countries now are doing HPV straight, like UK. They're just screening for HPV. It's when you have any of those virulent HPVs, like the 16, 18, that you are now advised to go for further treatment. But pap smear in Nigeria is still the gold standard that you need to do. So if you are doing pap smears regularly, the tendency of you developing cancer of the cervix is less, because the precursors will be picked on time and treatment is given. It is given. So that is one. Then vaccines are also available. In Nigeria, we have the Cervarix. I'm not sure the other one, the Gardasil, is available in Nigeria. Cervarix is for 2 of the HPVs, 16 and 18. Gardasil adds 6 and 11, which is for the anogenital warts. I know they have that in UK, US, and all.
Sorry, doctor. Because you're going into, you're mentioning things that may not. So in summary, and you know how we are with once we hear medication, we hear one word, we can hold on to it and say that's the drug for the, that's the drug that will cure us. So that's the drug for the, we may not even. So this area now, is it that from what you're saying is like there are different things for different people? I mean, even with regards to the same cervical cancer, it may not be one form of treatment that would be okay for everyone that presents. Definitely not. That's why you have to see your caregiver. Don't treat yourself, because he will look at what you have, at what stage you are, the cancer is, and then determine the treatment modality. Okay. But the Cervarix I mentioned is prevention, the vaccine. No, vaccines generally are for prevention. Prevention. So it's available, and it's encouraged. I mean, it's more effective in the younger age group, the adolescents, who have not been exposed to sexual activities, because they are yet to be exposed to HPV infections. So the efficacy in this age group is almost 100%. Wow. 100%. So you also have that. So at what age can a girl child be given? Initially they said from 13, but it's been dropped to 9 now. Wow. 9 years, yes. Because is it available in this country? It's available. Cervarix is available in Nigeria now. So why isn't it one of those things that is out there? As in, I mean, I have an 11-year-old, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm done with all her immunizations. So if there's an immunization that can help, Why isn't the information out there?
Oh, for now, I don't think it's in the national immunization scheme. It's just a private arrangement. It's not in the national immunization scheme. But I learned there's a process, there's a plan to inculcate that into the national immunization scheme.
Wow.
But for now, it's available.
Okay.
I think it's being marketed by Roche. I don't know.
Okay.
But many hospitals have them available.
Okay.
So if you ask your caregiver, they may be able to know, tell you where you can have it or how they can get it for you.
Okay.
But it's very important that we get our girl child to be immunized against cancer of the cervix.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I still have questions. but at this point, I just want to remind us, don't go anywhere. Remember, we have somebody who's going to share her story with us. And just so you know that it is not a death sentence, like Dr. Mobong had started saying. And I want us to please, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And whatever questions you have, comments, questions, you want to verify stuff, please just don't forget to put that in the comment section and we will respond to you. Our guests will respond. So quickly, Dr. Mobong, on ovarian cancer now, because, I mean, like you said, by the time the person is having swelling, pain, it's probably late. So you were talking about having hormonal tests done or screening, or, you know. So now the pap smear, we know it's every 3 years. What of the ovarian? Because that isn't popular. So how often? What do we do to prevent, as in terms of screening, to be sure to prevent over time? Is there a marker, a time frame to that? What
yeah, the tumor marker for ovarian cancer is the CA125, and it's recommended that you do that yearly, or at least every 2 years.
Wow.
Every 2 years. So that will just give an indication of what is going on in your ovary. But in these more developed countries that we have, we could test for BRCA1 and 2. You know, it's the same gene. Breast cancer gene that causes ovarian cancers.
Okay.
So they also test them over there. I said a woman that has cancer of the breast has a higher tendency of developing cancer of the ovary, because it's the same gene that predisposes to that. So if you can't do BRCA, check for your BRCA1 and 2 gene, it is advisable too. But I don't think it's available here in Nigeria right now.
Okay, so what's available?
Sure.
What's for those of us in Nigeria? We have viewers who watch it, who watch. I mean, from outside the country. But for those of us right here, right now,
if you can afford it, there are places we take the sample and send them outside. There are some hospitals here that have.
If I cannot afford it,
you do CA125.
Okay, and I should do that every year or
at least every 2 years. Yes.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Mobong. If I know that there's a whole lot more, but like I said, we have a story to hear. We have a story to hear. So just sit back, relax, breathe a bit. I know you've heard quite a lot, like I have. And in a minute, in a second, a few seconds, I'll be back with my next guest. Thank you very much. Welcome back to Safe Space with Pastor Wale. Thank you for holding on and joining us right back. And if you're just tuning in, well, I must say you have missed a lot. But don't worry, there is still so much more ahead, and you came in at the right time. Like I said last week, we have someone who's going to be with us today, sharing her story, her journey through cancer, and she's going to talk to us today. And our hope is that when she shares her story, that it will resonate with a lot of things that Dr. Umobong has already spoken to us about. and it would encourage us to actually go out there and do what we must do, and encourage us to know that cancer is truly not a death sentence. So I would like for you to welcome with me Miss Elizabeth Taylor.
Hi, good afternoon.
Thank you so much. Thank you for agreeing to be on the program with us. And I guess as we talk down the line, our audience will realize why I am expressing this much gratitude. Because truly, it's not everybody, to my shock and surprise, it is not everybody who is ready and willing to be open about their journey or their encounter with cancer. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Liz. Let the people know you.
Thank you so much for the invitation and the opportunity to share the story. My name is Elizabeth Taylor, and I wear a lot of hats.
Yes.
I'm an author. I've written about 4 books now, available on Amazon. I'm also a life strategist.
Yeah.
That's another way of saying coach.
Mm-hmm.
So I help people craft goals and strategies to live or to win in life.
Yeah.
And well, I'm a business consultant as well. I help small businesses survive. That's some of the things I do, and I love doing them with passion.
Fantastic, fantastic. So tell us what type of cancer you were diagnosed with, and when did this happen?
Okay, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, stage 3 breast cancer, in 2018. 2018, October 2018. Yes. It was stage 3 breast cancer. I was diagnosed here in Nigeria, actually. But I received treatments in the UK.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So can you tell us about that? Tell us what happened after the diagnosis. How?
Okay. After the diagnosis, it was I think the scariest time of my life. I remember the day my doctor gave me the diagnosis. He said, yes, Liz, it's cancer. My doctor is my friend. I sobbed like I had not sobbed in my life. And initially, I thought it was a death sentence. And I cried because I felt there's so much more ahead of me. Why this? Why now? Why me? You understand?
Mm.
So I cried, obviously. And I decided I chose life. Rather than stick my head in a hole somewhere. Based on my faith and my belief, I believe that Jesus has already paid the price for my healing. And if it's something I had confessed all my life, 40 years of my life, then this is now the tire meeting the road, or the road meeting the tire. And how does that now feel? How do I live that, what I believe? So I started to pray. I didn't just pray. One of the things that was pivotal to the journey was I went to see my pastor.
Okay. And
my pastor looked at me, and I'm very, very grateful. He told me 2 things. The first thing he said buttressed what I believed. It's in Romans chapter 8. He said, if the spirit that raised Christ from the dead lives in your mortal bodies, he will quicken your mortal bodies, he will give you life. Then the second thing he now said to me, he said, Liz, you need to determine and find out for yourself does the spirit that raised Christ from the dead live in your mortal body? That's the first thing. That's the key to your healing. And the second thing he told me, and I'm very grateful to him, because I know that a lot of our clergy don't say this kind of things. They will tell you, oh, have faith, oh, exercise your faith, oh, all kind of things. My pastor told me, look me in the eye, he said, whatever your doctor tells you to do it. For me, that was a lifeline. And it positioned me on a road for obedience to my doctor. So I wasn't dragging and screaming, kicking and dragging and screaming. So they didn't drag me kicking and screaming down treatments. I was a partner. I obeyed my doctors, everything they said. Okay, so I opted, because I used to live in the UK, so I opted to go back to the UK for treatment.
Sorry, Liz,
yes.
there's something that's been nagging at the back of my mind. what made you go to the doctor?
To check.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm one that is really particular about my health.
Okay.
Because I've had health challenges all my life. So one day I was in the shower and I was doing a breast examination, which is what they always, a self-examination.
Yeah.
And I felt a lump that wasn't there the last time I checked.
Okay.
So I decided to go and get it checked. I decided to go and get it checked. The regular predispositions, don't smoke, don't do this, I don't do all of those things. But it was wise to go and check. So in checking, I did a mammogram.
Yeah.
I did a scan.
Okay.
And then my doctor opted to do a biopsy.
Okay.
So those were the 3 tests I did here. And the results came back as cancer. That was the diagnosis.
Okay.
So that's the story to that diagnosis.
Okay.
And then the treatment followed.
Okay.
During the treatments, one of the things the doctors did was check the size of the tumor. And I was now a candidate for breast preserving surgery. The tumor wasn't so large, so they were able to do the surgery and remove the tumor. They remove the tumor and they make sure they get the entire cancer.
Okay.
So there's nothing, you have to have very clear margins. There are standards for that. So they removed the cancer, there were very clear margins. They removed, because they went through my armpit,
Okay.
into the breast and took out, my doctor is a whiz, he was able to, you wouldn't know I had surgery at all. Wow. He took out the cancer and then he took out lymph nodes. And then after that, they tested again, verified everything they had tested, and then tested the tumor to find out what it was sensitive to and the kind of tumor it was.
Okay.
And then the treatment was chemotherapy and radiotherapy.
Okay, let me come in here. So they had to find out what it was sensitive to.
Yes.
So is it because there's apart from the chemo and radiation, there's something else they could have done as well?
Yes. There are different kinds of, I'm not a medical person.
Yeah.
What the doctor explained to me, there are different kinds of cancer tumors. Now, what I was diagnosed with was a triple negative breast cancer.
Okay.
And there are several kinds of cancers that respond to hormone treatments and all what's not. So in my case, the best treatment the best treatment was chemotherapy and radiotherapy. In my instance.
In your instance,
yes.
Fantastic.
So there's no, you need to work with your doctor. You need to listen to your doctor. You need to have, your doctor will make an informed decision. There's no guesswork in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So after that, what happened? How did you, how was the process of the chemo, radiation? How long did all this take?
I did the surgery in December of 2018.
Okay.
And like 6 weeks to heal. And then I started 8 weeks. Then I started chemotherapy. I did 6 cycles of chemotherapy. A cycle of chemotherapy every 3 weeks. Every 3 weeks, yes. And there are different kinds of chemotherapy drugs. My oncologist,
yeah,
he actually gave me, the hospital gave me plenty of things to read about what to expect. I actually had a counseling session about what to expect. And they just throw a lot of this information at you. And it is really, really scary. It's really scary. They tell you about so many side effects. The side effects are, in fact, losing your hair is the simplest side effect. It's the easiest side effect.
Wow.
I lost every strand of hair on my body to my eyelashes. You don't know the value of your eyelashes until you don't have eyelashes.
Wow.
And now my eyes started getting infected. At one point in time, I had 5 boils, 5 boils on this eye and 4 on this eye, because there was no, because my eyelids were getting infected. And there was so much. I have to add the grace angle, the faith angle,
Yeah.
but I'm a person of faith. There was so much favor in this whole system, and I had a nurse that was such a she's been treating patients with cancer for 15 years, Shirley, and there are things that nurses know that there's things she told me that were not in the notebooks, that all the paraphernalia the doctors gave me. Some of the side effects from the chemo, your nails could fall off from the nail bed. And she told me, you know what, Liz, you know what you're going to do? You're going to go out, you're going to go and get black nail polish, or you're going to get navy blue as dark as you can get. I'm like, I don't understand, that's not my color. She said, yes, it's not your color, but you're going to wear it. She said she doesn't understand why, but there's some reason why dark nail polish prevents the nails from falling off the nail bed. Wow. They don't understand it. I mentioned it to my oncologist. He said there are things Shirley knows that's about the whole process. He doesn't even, there's no science to back it. There was a time during chemo, every bit of my body was paining me. But the place that was paining me the most were the tips of my fingers. Yeah. My extremities was so bad. And I called Shirley and I'm like, I can't, because I had access to her. I'm like, I don't know what, I don't know. She was like, okay, that is fine. She says, was it
just your fingers or your feet as well?
My fingers, the tips of my fingers. Yeah. The pain was all over my body, but it was worse there. Okay. I actually felt someone was using pliers to pull off, and it was not just, it was continuous. And she told me, across the counter medication that people use for allergies, she was like, first thing tomorrow, no, she was like, oh no, it was my second cycle. She was like, there's nothing we can do about it now. But your next cycle, before they give you, she told me what to do. Yeah. And it worked like a charm. So I can't overemphasize the need to work with people that are taking care of your partners, your caregivers. The radiation burns, but you know what? In all of that, the beauty is, unless if I tell you, you wouldn't know I've been through that. A lot of people go through chemo and they lose weight. I went through chemo and I added weight. I had time where I couldn't eat because my entire mouth was burned. My entire, inside my mouth was, you know how when you take hot tea and it burns, it was burned. But you know what? There's grace in the midst of it all. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. And no matter what, I don't like to share this bits of scary parts. Because the reason why I'm sharing it now is because people can see me now. And unless if I tell you, you won't know. It's like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. When they came out of the fiery furnace, one of the things they said, the Bible says, is that there was not the smell of smoke on them. And unless if I tell you what I've been through, you wouldn't know it. So someone has been through it and someone has come out and God has saved the person. Which is why I'm here to say, let's not put our heads in the sand.
Yeah. I like that. Let's not put our heads in the sand. That was one thing we kept saying the last episode. Let's not put our heads in the sand. So, which leads me to my next question for you, because you remember I said that it was hard, it was difficult. I mean, I thought we had some slots, like about 2 clinics had graciously given us 2 slots for pap smear and two slots for breast screening. And I thought my biggest challenge was going to be telling people, oh, the slots are filled. Amazingly, that number remains. I haven't gotten one call as we speak. And I remembered Dr. Mobong had actually talked about people's attitude towards this, people feeling stigmatized, people not wanting to know. It's like, if I don't know it's there, I don't have to deal with it. you know, and here you are, willing to share your story, willing to tell somebody, yes, it can be, I went through this, but I mean, I'm here, I'm out on the other side, you know. So is it true, is there any stigma attached to this, and have you experienced it?
Yes. I remember the very first time someone asked me to speak about my experience before my book came out.
Yeah.
And my mother said, you want to go and tell people that you went, I know, I shouldn't. I'm like, Mommy, sorry. How do you know that God didn't take me through this and bring me out to become an advocate to help other people go through and come out? How do you know? Far be it from me to hide something that God has done. Far be it from me. And maybe I'm here, maybe I'm just like Esther. If I perish, I perish. You know, I don't. For me, what if the reason I went through this is so that people can see that people survive? There are so many things that people, we in our culture, people believe, just if people can stigmatize COVID, that you catch us like, you understand? You didn't do anything wrong. Someone just sneezed in your direction. You understand?
But COVID can jump from one person to another.
But people still stigmatize COVID. How much more cancer? I'm very sure now, right? After hearing this, somebody will now say, it's only promiscuous people that get cervical cancer.
Wow.
And then when someone will say, I can't tell anybody that I was diagnosed with cervical cancer because they will think I'm promiscuous. We've heard of people catching HIV/AIDS from a dentist, but still we believe at the back of our minds that it's only gay people that catch AIDS, that get diagnosed with AIDS. You understand?
Yeah.
There's so many dimensions. Some people will say, oh, you don't have faith. You call yourself a Christian. If you were really a Christian, this will not happen to you. Some people believe that it's judgment from God. In our culture, we need to disabuse our minds of this thing. We need to.
Well, apart from your mom, what other form of stigmatization have you encountered? And I know that was pure question, because I'm thinking something must have made her ask that question, that you want to go and so people will know.
Some people believe that because of the treatment the person has gone through, for example, you've not had kids, you've gone through chemo, radiation, whatever, that you can't have kids again. So you are not, in our African culture, you are automatically no longer wife material.
Wow.
The reason you're marrying the wife is to have kids. I'm just saying, I'm just being sarcastic. So there's different reasons. It's not for me to say why people stigmatize people. There are different reasons. And so people keep mum. People keep short. It's not a thing. For me, it's like saying, it's like typhoid fever, right? I'm sure you don't know there's some subtle stigma with telling people we have typhoid, because they assume that you've been eating dirty food, because if you read, what's the cause of it's fecal matter? So that means you're not cooking well in your house. You're not hygienic. We tend to look for other reasons other than it's just a health challenge. It's just like now things are changing. You have an autistic child, you have a child on the spectrum, and then they go and hide the child. Or the woman is kicked out of the house because she brought someone, she gave birth to a child who's autistic. You know, there's so many, I can name so many things people are stigmatized over.
Wow. Wow. I like what you said, that it is simply a challenge. It is simply a health challenge. Yeah. You know, why can't we just deal with it as it's a challenge? Why do we, why must we always go around to how is it the person's fault? You know, the person must have done something to get this, and if you go out there and you let people know, then chances are you may get it too. Or
if you talk about it,
or
you're
your
yourself.
whole family is may be involved, right?
We believe that the more we talk about something, we don't like bad news. We don't like talking about difficult things, because we believe that the more we talk about it, we give it life. However, the more we talk about it, we shine light. Darkness cannot comprehend light. So there's healing when there's light. There's deliverance when there's light. Let's demystify it. Let's demystify it.
Okay.
And I want to let people know that it's not your fault.
Can you look into that camera?
It's not your fault. If you are diagnosed with cancer, it's not your fault. I've had someone actually came up to me and said, "Oh, the reason you were diagnosed with cancer is XYZ, XYZ," and it dealt a blow. I had to go and tell myself, "Look, Pastor Wale, it's not your fault." And I was talking to you earlier, and I said, "Am I happy that I went through this?" No, I'm not happy. But has it made me a different person? Yes. It's made me a better person. It's made me an infinitely better person. I've grown in ways I never knew I could grow. And another thing it has done, it has cemented, that word solidify is not a good word, it has cemented into concrete my faith in God.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Liz. Thank you. And if you're with us, please share if you haven't done so. If you haven't done so, please share this program, share the link on your platform. Somebody's somewhere needs to hear everything we're talking about. They need to hear this story. So, Liz, I want to ask you, I have like just 2 more questions I want to ask you. What's the scariest part of this journey? What was the most difficult thing you had to deal with? What was the scariest part? Is it the pain? Is it I'm sure there are a lot of things, but I just want to know for you, what was it?
2 things. They both have to do with each other.
Yeah.
One is ignorance. The diagnosis came, and I was ignorant of the illness. I was ignorant of mortality or whatever, and I thought I was going to die. And fear.
Okay.
Fear. When you see the paraphernalia for treatment, is scary. When you see, or when things you're not used to are scary.
Yeah.
I had to settle myself, and every day, this same fear, when it comes up, I have to settle myself, because the Bible says that perfect love casts out fear. I have to keep telling myself that God loves me. God loves me. If He loves me, He's the child of my life. And for me, that's the antidote for fear. So the most difficult part of this was not, because truth be told, I only threw up once throughout chemo. I only threw up once. And that was because it was during the second, this famous second cycle where everywhere was paining me. That was because it was a different, my nurse had to travel for her mother-in-law's funeral. So another nurse came to treat me. And after chemo, they threw steroids at me, like, oh God. And then each one is timed. So you take this one the morning of the chemo. You take this one 1 hour after chemo. You take this one the next day. And my nurse would write it on the packets. So I would know. The second nurse didn't do that. So I took the drugs all kinds of way. Yeah. And so the second chemo session was the worst. Now, the third chemo session, my nurse came back, Nurse Shirley came back, and I'm not saying it was painless, but was well managed. Yeah. It was well managed because I had someone holding my hand. So it wasn't so much that, it was the mental and spiritual toll. Another thing that happened, which for me is a testimony. Normally when I come for this kind of things, I actually wear them. There's something called chemo fog.
Okay.
I read a lot, you know. I had packed books that I was going to read during chemo, and I couldn't concentrate on anything. And I was like, oh God, what do I do? If I'm not going to do anything, I'm going to go crazy. And I heard a voice in my head, in my heart, say, bracelets. And I'm like, huh? Bracelets? And I now went on YouTube, I started checking for bracelets,
Okay.
DIY bracelets. And I went on Amazon, I bought all the tools. And for January till July, all throughout, that's when I was in active treatment.
Yeah.
I was making bracelets. I made over 100 bracelets. I am the least artistic person I know.
Wow.
The least. I don't know anything about colors. I don't know anything about fashion. Nothing. I was making bracelets that people saw. People felt, oh, you should sell these things.
Wow.
And they kept my mind focused. So what am I saying? There's always, God is always with you when you pass through the storm, through the flood. He's there with you. So when I say there was fear, God also gave a way out in that fear. That I'm able to come out and say, and be an advocate and say, it is possible. It's possible. But I will not give all 100% of the glory to my doctors or my medical team. I've mentioned them several times.
Yeah.
For me, the primary reason I'm sitting here is faith. Not faith is substance of things hoped for. No. I'm not talking about that, oh, have faith, have faith. Because I don't see myself as someone who has a lot of faith. But when I say faith, I mean my trust in God. And the fact that step by step, day by day, He walked me through. Did I pray every day? No. Did I read my Bible every day? No. However, this thing that, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. I began to get a new understanding of that scripture. And for me, what I went through pales in comparison with this new understanding I have.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Just listening to you, for me, what I'm taking from this is your faith is an anchor.
Yes.
Your faith is an anchor. So for me, because what just kept going through my mind is you have your faith. For some people who don't have, who are not a people of faith like you, but are going through this or have gone through it, you know, that focus, having something to focus your mind on, having something that is like a sense of hope. I'm seeing the importance of that. And it also makes me want to ask, did family, having family, having people, did it help? Did it help? Because we have somebody who may not be a person of faith like you, but this is not somebody who chooses, this is cancer doesn't choose faith, race, every and anyone, you know, and the journey may be a little different, but you still go through, like you said, the scariest part was the fear. You know, the scariest part was the fear and actually being ignorant of what was happening to you, but the fear, you know. So where does that support system, that's where I'm heading to.
The support system is so important. However, it must be discerning support. The first thing is not every friend and every family member I gave access to me throughout this period. Because some will come, Ewe, Iwo, Kasao, she's dying, you know that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they pour kerosene on that fire. So I did a relationship fast.
Okay.
So there are some people I didn't allow near me in my space. There's a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine. We're still good friends till today. I remember when I called her and I said, okay, this is what's going on, this is what's going on. And she didn't mean any harm. I found out that all the statistics and all these things, they fan the fear. And my friend went into statistics mode. And I was in England and she was ordering books on Amazon and sending them to me. I kid you not. I have a suitcase in my sister's house in England. Those books are still inside there. I didn't even, once I got the book, I put them in this, I didn't want to even see them because I found that it made me more frightened. Okay. I had friends who would look at me and say, wow, so your Gorimapa is so beautiful like this. God knew why God wanted us to see your beauty. You understand? You know, people who would encourage you. Not people who would tell you, oh, my friend, there are people who will come and say, hey, yeah, my friend died last year, oh, my mother died this one, oh, this one person died that one. Wow. And you're looking at the person and you're like, okay, so are you trying to say, I'm going to be on your list of people who have died? So be very careful. But you cannot, in the UK, there are several support groups you can join.
Are there any, do you know of here in Nigeria?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of. I'm actually be looking for people who are going, because my friends were sending me, I have blonde wigs, I have purple wigs, I have gray hair wigs, I have short wigs, I have this one, I have all kinds of wigs. My friends were sending me wigs. They said, you need to look fly, you need to look fly. I had friends that were doing that. And those things were so precious to me. Yeah. You understand? I'm looking for people here who wants wigs. I'm here to, you can still look beautiful. Yeah. You understand? And there's something to be said for my sister that I was staying with would say, okay, slap on some lip gloss, we're going for a walk. Look nice, look fine. You don't have to look like what you're going through. It's very important, but I need to emphasize that thing about the relationship fast. I'm not saying break your friendship with them, but just take it fast.
And choose. You need to be selective about those you allow into your space during that period.
Yes. It's not, so some people I did not even tell what I was going through until after. Yeah. In fact, the first 2 months after the diagnosis, the only people that knew about the diagnosis were my pastor, my mentor, and my immediate family. I remember the first time, and I wrote it in my book, first time I had cried all the way from Gariki 2 in Abuja to Wuse 2, just driving and crying, oh my God, and I got home. And my mom, this is someone who had just buried her husband, buried a year ago, to tell her that her last child got this diagnosis, and I'll never forget it. My mom looked me in the eye, and she said, and I thought she was going to hold me and two of us to cry together. Yeah. And she said, no, I cannot bury any of my children. Till today, as I'm sitting down here, that is like a jolt that goes inside of me. So as long as that woman is upon this earth, there's no way I'm going to. And we need friends like that. We need support like that.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Thank you for choosing to share your story. Thank you for choosing not to be silent about it. Thank you so much. And the beauty always comes out of ashes. Elizabeth has written a book called, I hope the camera can pick this. It's called My Healing Playbook. My Healing Playbook. In in a minute, because time is gone, in a minute, can you just tell us what this is about? Is it your usual, this is what happened to me book, or?
If you want to know about, this is the first and only time I'll ever talk about chemo made me feel like this, chemo made me feel like that, because of the context. Yeah. I don't talk about that because it's not about that. That book is about, that's why it's a playbook. You know how you have a playlist? Yeah. That's a playbook of the things I was listening to that was changing my mind concerning God's word and God's heart concerning me. Helping me deal with that fear. Helping me detox my spirit. So if you want to, and it's not only about cancer, if you want to detox your spirit, if you want to clear the cobwebs and get a solid footing regards your health and contend for your health, that for me is a book to buy.
It's available on Amazon?
It's available on Amazon, it's internationally, and is available on Roving Heights in Nigeria.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Lisbeth. Thank you. Thank you. I wish we could we could go on. I wish we could go on. I still, in 30 seconds, you'd have to try. In 30 seconds, can you tell me, because you said that the things, you mentioned that this has made you a better person, a stronger person, and can you just, in 30 seconds, share with us what lifestyle changes have you had to make?
Okay, I've made 4 lifestyle changes.
Okay, reel them off.
The first one, I now drink water intentionally.
Fantastic.
Second one, I don't eat anyhow. I now only eat natural food. I have a rule. If I show what I'm going to eat or tell my great-grandmom what I'm going to eat, if she cannot understand it, I don't put it in my mouth. I don't eat anything canned. I don't eat anything artificial. Only natural food.
Okay.
Third, I used to be a workaholic. I'm no longer a workaholic. I rest and I sleep.
Fantastic.
Fourth, is change the way I do faith. Something I wrote in the book, you don't think your way. You don't just think or meditate your way into success in life. You speak your way into success in life. Because when God made us in the old Hebrew, God said he made us speaking spirits. The first thing we saw of God was God spoke. So you cannot sit in your mind and say, oh God, I wish, and No, you need to open your mouth and speak. You need to open your mouth and speak. I mentioned to you that I got burnt by radiation.
Yeah.
So I still have some lingering pain. So yesterday I was lying down in my bed and I felt some pain. And I felt the same fear come again ahead. The cancer will come back, cancer will come back. And I just got, I'm like, because the Bible says, take no thoughts. That means someone is offering you a thought. You are taking it. And instead of using my mind, go away, go away. It's like when, you know, you're talking, just go away, go away. No. Wake up. Open your mouth and say, I am not taking that thought. So those are the 5 things. The way I do my faith has changed. I'm now more vocal.
Wow.
Forget the way I'm talking now. I'm a very, very quiet person and very introverted person. So
We're very introverted with many hats. Many, many hats.
That's a different conversation. There's a reason for that. That's a different conversation.
Oh wow. Oh wow. We could go on. I just there's still so much. There's still so much. But can we reach out to you?
Yes.
Can somebody listening to me now who says, okay, I want to, they're like, ask her this question and I haven't asked, but they would want to talk with you.
Yeah.
They now know that at least if I tell her certain things, she can identify with me. Who knows? Maybe this is how a support group would start. Who knows? But it's okay.
Yes, it is okay.
And her contact will be on the screen, so you can reach out to her. Her number, her contact, her email, everything will be scrolling on the screen. So please feel free, reach out to her. You don't have to go through this alone. We keep saying, we keep reiterating, cancer is not a death sentence. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you, Ms. Taylor. Thank you so much for joining us. Please still stay on with us. Dr. Mobong will be back to wrap up this session with us. Thank you. And remember, subscribe and share. Thank you so very much for staying on, and I believe that every minute you have stayed with us on this program today has been a minute, a second well spent. It's been data well spent, well spent, and I want to appreciate you for that. We're rounding up now, and Dr. Umobong is back with me to just give us some closing words after listening to Miss Taylor's story. And I just want to clarify that she's been going for her checks. Miss Elizabeth has been going for her checks following her treatment. Every 6 months she's gone since the treatment in 2019. And so far, there has been, her doctors have certified that there's been no reoccurrence. There has been no reoccurrence. That it is until after you have, after 10 years, then a patient or it's certified cancer-free. But right now, I'm going to hand over to Dr. Mobong to just help us out with debunk a few of those myths and just wrap up with some words.
Thank you very much. And I really want to thank Liz. It takes courage to do what she has done. Yeah. And this is what I've always prayed, that more people will come out. I suppose if more people come out to tell their stories, the stigmatization will actually cease. Yes, there's serious stigmatization for cancer survivors. It's not their fault. It can happen to anybody. Yeah. Don't say it's not my portion. It wasn't her portion. It's not the portion of any of the cancer patients. Yeah. So let us be empathetic towards them. Yes. Support is very important. Like she has heard, I've lost 2 friends to cancer. And one did not have the support of the closest person to her, her husband. Her husband actually drove her out of the house because, according to him, he did not want any cancer patient in his house. What did you expect her to do? Another one was in UK. Somebody, after diagnosis, a human being actually sent a card to a fellow human being. Sorry, we will miss you. Wow. When she was still alive. Wow. Yes, she was my chief bridesmaid.
That was Carlos.
That is human being.
Wow.
Please, cancer survivors need your support. Emotional support, spiritual support, any support that you can give them. If you cannot support, please keep your mouth closed. What you say can affect them. We need people that will lift up their spirit, not people that will put them down, that will make things worse for them. Don't think it's because of their sin. It's not because of that. So whatever little you can do, send messages of hope, something that will lift up their spirit. And then treatment is expensive. If you can help financially, 1 kobo, 2 kobo, it adds up to something.
Yes.
It can take care of at least maybe 1 cycle of treatment. And for the cancer patients, like you've heard, a closed mouth is a closed destiny. Speak out. You don't know where your help will come from. Be truthful. When you go to the hospital, say it as it is. Don't hide, because that's another thing I've noticed. Many patients hide their problems until when it is too late. Please, you need to speak out. I've already talked about the support system. Now, the prevention. I cannot overemphasize it. Please and please, do annual general medical examination. Check everything. Blood pressure, blood sugar, pap smears, PSA for the men, whatever. Just go to the doctor. They will outline the basic things that you should do. The ones you should do annually, the ones you should do 2 years, 3 years, they will let you know. Let finance, invest in yourself. What are you working for if you cannot put aside something for yourself? So in a year, find time to do this. And lifestyle changes. We need to start that. We need to mobilize. We are too immobile in Nigeria. We drive. In fact, some people practically drive. If they are going to an office, they will practically drive to the front of that office. Especially they have drivers. Drop me there in front. Go and park. When they come out, driver, come out. For God's sake. Learn to take a walk. 30 minutes walk in a day goes a long way. Like Liz said, our food. Please, let's go back to organic. Let's go back to the, what they call it, grass-fed chicken. Those ones that we see in the village. Let's go back to the vegetables that we are used to, that our grandparents were taking. Let's be natural a bit. Let's watch what we eat. Control your weight. Have a standard, let it be within an acceptable weight that is acceptable for your height and age. You know that, check your BMI. These are some basic things that will keep cancer away. Tobacco smoking, please, let's advise our children. Shisha, that's what they call it now. It is causing havoc right now. Let's advise our children. Cancer patients is not because of their sin. It just happened. And it can happen to anybody. So I'm just appealing, let us be considerate in how we handle cases, in how we treat people. Treat them the way you want yourself to be treated. Put yourself in their own position. How would I want this person to react to me? Just imagine it. How would you like it if somebody comes to tell you, oh, look at this person. Oh, don't talk to this person. Oh, her mother has this. And family members, for God's sake, yes, it might run in some families, but then nobody has a right to say, oh, this is a family of cancer. I have heard it. Even if 2 people from that family have had cancer, it does not mean that all of them or the next person, the next generation will have it. Please, let's stop this stigmatization and reach out to people.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Mobong. Thank you so very much. And I just want you to know that one of the ways you can help right now is by subscribing to this channel, by clicking on the alert button, and by sharing this link. If you just joined in today and you didn't listen to the last episode, please do so and put it on all your platforms and encourage your friends to listen to it. Both men, women, just encourage them to listen to it. Reach out for information. Reach out for information. Reach out for information. You can never know too much, really. So once again, I want to thank you. I want to thank my guests once again. I want to thank Dr. Mobong. I want to thank Miss Liz Taylor. And I want to thank you all for listening in and to this program. Thank you so much. Look forward to you joining us in our next episode of Safe Space with Pastor Wale. Thank you.